Why do some employees work passionately even without big bonus, while others lose motivation despite higher pays?
That's the question Edward Deci and Richard Ryan try to answer through self-determination theory, one of the most modern and influential motivation theories in business psychology.
Today, we will break down what SDT means for manager, how it compares to classic theories like Maslow or Taylor, and how businesses can use it to boost motivation the right way. Before we dive in, let's talk about the people behind the theory, psychologist and professor Edward Deci and Richard Ryan.
Deci was a professor of psychology and Ryan was a clinical psychologist. They both worked at the University of Rochester.
Their research originates from a simple question: why do people do what they do? They also noticed that many motivation theories, such as Taylor's scientific management, focus on external reward, like money or punishment, but they wanted to understand the internal motivation. This study was based on experiment and observation rather than surveys. A classic experiment of theirs suggests that when people are paid to do a puzzle they already enjoyed, the motivation actually decreased once the reward stopped.
Well, in 1985, the two psychologists proposed that all humans are naturally motivated to improve. They argue that there are two key types of motivation, which are autonomous motivation, which is also known as intrinsic motivation, which is when you're driven by personal satisfaction, and controlled motivation, which is also known as extrinsic motivation, which stems from external pressure, which is basically a feeling of obligation to perform in a particular way to gain rewards or avoid punishment.
They also identified three key psychological needs which must be satisfied for someone to feel truly motivated: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Autonomy refers to the ability to control and freely do your work. Employees feel motivated when they are allowed to make decisions and use their creativity to take responsibility for their work rather than following strict instructions. Employees want to be trusted, and Deci and Ryan research found that it empowers employees to work harder and be more productive.
Competence refers to the feeling of being capable and confident, essentially knowing that your work matters and is positively contributing to the workplace, as well as knowing that you are improving.
Manager can support this by giving constructive feedback rather than hard criticism. If employees feel and see that they are improving, their motivation and performance will increase.
Finally, we have relatedness, which means a sense of belonging and connection with others in the workplace. When employees have good relationships with colleagues and feel that their presence is valued, they feel happier and more engaged in their work.
This is why so many modern organizations promote and encourage teamwork and positive company culture.
So, how does this all help us to understand motivation in the workplace? Well, it shows that real motivation doesn't only come from paychecks or punishments, but also creating a healthy environment which provides employees with autonomy, competence, and relatedness, which can drive them to be more innovative and loyal to the company.
This related to Google's 20% time policy, which allowed their employees to spend 20% of their work week to work on passion projects. Google say that this allowed them to contribute more positively to the company as they were able to explore ideas beyond usual limits of their roles.
This 20% time policy and the trust and empowerment it created among Google's employees has led to numerous innovations such as Gmail.
So, how useful or relevant is this theory in modern-day business management?
For managers and leadership positions, SDT can provide a framework for designing jobs and leadership styles that can encourage employees to engage in work to their full potential.
So instead of relying on only motivators like bonus, managers can motivate their employees by encouraging self-motivation, giving employees ownership and recognizing their work and progress, and promoting teamwork spirit.
This can lead to high employee satisfaction, lower turnover, as well as improved levels of innovation and productivity.
However, of course, no theory is perfect. There are a number of weaknesses and critiques surround SDT.
Firstly, it may not apply equally across all business cultures or professions. In some cultures, hierarchy and group harmony is prioritized over individual success.
Also, in some industries, like professional sport, reward like money and fame are still a major motivation factor.
Finally, the last debate is that it's difficult to measure and define what exactly counts as intrinsic motivation. It's considered a very subjective topic, especially compared to clear extrinsic incentive.
To wrap up, Deci and Ryan's self-determination theory state that motivation doesn't only come from extrinsic means, but it also much influenced by the intrinsic reward and meaning.
For business leaders, a simple lesson they can learn is if you want employees to give their all, you have to give them a reason beyond extrinsic reward.
That's all for today's talk. Thank you for listening.